Hi there, and we're learning all about the Roland Juno-106. Let's talk about the LFO. So at the moment you can see it's pulsing at this speed. As we move the slider, the rate of the pulses change. Okay, it gets to the stage where it looks like it's on all the time. It isn't, it's just flashing very fast. The LFO is capable of controlling various parameters in this instrument. One of them is pitch, and we do that with this slider here. So at high levels it's extreme and kind of unpleasant, but at small levels you get a very, very nice little vibrato effect. Highly recommended, don't overlook it. Tiny numbers, 7, 6, 5, somewhere down the very small number range. A little bit of oscillation on the pitch goes a long way to making a lovely creamy sound. But, you know, can be crazy. We can apply the LFO to the filter, to the voltage controlled filter. So what it's doing, I've just took the other settings off the VCF so that we can hear it more clearly. It's applying a periodic change to the VCF's cutoff. It's like, turn this off. It's like we start at 0 and then we come up to this kind of sound. So we've got nothing. Come up to this. So we do that periodically. As we increase this slider, it's making that change between the low frequency cutoff and the high more accentuated. Until we're back down to 0 and it's applying no change at all. So that's LFO to the filter, to the VCF, voltage controlled filter. So the LFO is also tied into the modulation wheel. So down here we have the modulation wheel's sensitivity. So I've just turned them, you can't, there's no visual sign of the mod wheel on this instrument. I've just turned it up to max. So whatever the wheel is currently set to on its sensitivity, it's going to apply an amount of modulation to the filter according to the LFO. So this is basically the same as turn that off and turn this on. Similar kind of effect. They do sum together to produce more dramatic results. So the LFO is like really central to the construction of the sounds in this instrument. It's just always wanting to do the pulsy thing. Let's try applying the LFO to the volume of the sound via the voltage controlled amplifier, or VCA. So in gate mode, if I turn triggering the envelope on, means every pulse is going to fire the trigger again. Listen. Okay, so at the moment, because we're in gate mode, it's basically on or off. It's either making a sound or it isn't. If I switch to envelope mode instead, so now we're on envelope 1, it will trigger the volume, the VCA, according to the shape of this envelope. So if I give it a little bit of attack, Slow it down a little bit. So it's this envelope shape that's being applied to the sound. If I really increase the attack, you'll hear it take a long time to make each note inside the LFO cycle. Take the release off so that we can really hear it as clearly as possible. So it's coming up and then falling off the cliff because there's no release. And then this is how we get a pulse kind of thing going on. Same kind of thing applies to envelope 2, whatever you've got this shape drawn to. So here we've got only sustain and no other part of the envelope, so it's basically on or off, and it should sound like the gate did. If I bring a little bit of release in, then instead of it just being a hard hit and then completely gone, it's tailing off with the release. Bit of decay, and then we're back to the pulse sound that we've drawn a very similar shape to the one that we started with envelope 1. The trigger envelope switch, which is currently on, let's make this dramatic again. Turn that off. So it's not firing the envelope until I let go of the key again, when it's entering the release cycle and finishing the note off. But if we make the LFO trigger the envelope, then it takes over that job for us. So it's basically like it's pressing keys and releasing them on every LFO cycle. Key trigger, when it's on, the whatever the LFO is being sent to will fire with the pressing of the key every time, and when key trigger is off, the LFO is basically just constantly doing its thing in the background, and when you press the key, it joins in. You catch it wherever it happens to be on its cycle. Okay, so I've set up a sound that has a very violent filter sweep. Let's just hear it. So I'm just holding the key down, and that's what it's playing. Now then, with key trig off, every time we play the key, we just catch it wherever it happens to be on its wave cycle. If we turn key trig on, every time we play the key, always fires the envelope from the beginning. There's a very quick illustration of the kinds of ways in which the controls of this synthesizer all integrate with each other. I'll give you a quick deconstruct on how this biplane sound effect is generated, because it comes from a weird combination of effects that you say, oh right, we can start moving these sliders to maximum and minimum extents and we're going to get interesting stuff. So let's have a look at this. LFO rate. VCO, pitch modulation, LFO. Okay, so now we've got a constant pitch being played periodically. Cranking the LFO right up to the max brings a sweeping pitch fall on every pulse. And then we make that very fast indeed. And we have takeoff. So that's a quick intro to the Juno-106 LFO. Join me next time and we'll talk a little bit more about envelopes. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.